Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. Today we have a very special best of 3. As in the top right spawning as our red Terran player playing for the Shopify Rebellion. It's going to be ByuNS. Now, a little warning before I introduce the next player is that this game will contain spoilers for GSL Group C. So if you don't want to get spoiled, now would be a good timing to tune out. For the people who want to stay, bottom left here, spawning as our blue Zerg player, we have DRG. So a Terran versus Zerg here, and this is actually the elimination match of GSL Group C. So the player who wins this best of 3 will go on into the next round, which I think is the round of 8, if I can do my math correctly. And the player who loses this is out. Now we see ByuNS opening up with a low ground barracks as well as a double gas opener. I don't get excited quickly for build. No, that's not true. I do get excited quickly for build orders, and this build order definitely excites me. So, why does this build order excite me? It's because we don't see a whole lot of 2-gas openers, and usually when there's a 2-gas opener, it means that something special is happening here as well. So we see an SCV kind of being sent towards the left side. Okay. Overlord, very important. As Overlord doesn't quite see it here for ByuNS. SCV moving away. We're gonna see a Reaper first or a Marine first for ByuNS. Okay. Proxy Factory single Marine opener. Now, this is an extremely uncommon build order. So if you're not super familiar what the standard is in Terran versus Zerg, well, this ain't it. Usually we see a single gas opener coming out of Terran with a fast command center. What we never see, or almost never see, is double gas. But when we do see double gas, it's always with a Reaper first. This particular build is a double factory opener with one of the factories proxied. And that means he's going to be either massing Cyclones plus Hellions, or just pure Cyclone most likely. Opening up with Marines to A, deny some scouting, and B, to save a little bit of gas. Look at this. DRG is gonna have no clue as to what is kicking off here. He's playing a standard game. DRG is sending his links across the map, sure, because he sees a double Marine opener. That makes sense. You have a reactor coming down on this factory. There's a reactor that's almost done on this barracks, and we'll see a swap over here as well. Absolutely key at this moment for ByuNS is going to be A, to deny scouting, and B, well, actually, no, just to deny scouting. You don't want these links to be capable of running in towards your natural. You don't want this Overlord to be capable of scouting your natural either. In a weird way, this Overlord scouting the main base would be less bad than an Overlord or a link scouting the natural right now, which is a very rare scenario. 4 Cyclones being produced here, 3 minutes into the game. We're gonna have to wait and see how DRG is going to respond to this, and if he actually has a viable response. Yes, there will be link speed, and links are quite okay. Oh, he had a setup. He had a rally point setup over here, but he barely goes away. I was gonna say yes, links are okay, but there is a serious problem with links in that if you start losing against Cyclones, it's very easy to kind of run out. It's easy to run out of links if you don't have the larva available. Look at this. There's only 3 queens. There's 2 more on the way. There's 4 links. That's it. If this Overlord gets taken out, we might be walking into a bit of a supply block over here. 6 SCVs, no, 5 SCVs, no, 6 SCVs, 7, I can't count, have shown up over here. And that means that these links are going down. 14 more are in production. Next Overlord's going down. That's 100% going to supply block the opponent. Repair is going to be very, very important here for ByuNS, as the Cyclones for now are staying alive. The next wave of Cyclones is popping out right now as well. The number is already up to 7. 8 Cyclones against 5 Queens. Bunch of links are out as well, but they're not trading very well. SCV still alive. Not a single Cyclone has gone down. I lied. A single Cyclone has just now gone down. Marines were with this push as well, or I guess they had died earlier already, so not really Marines with this push. And I don't really see a way for DRG to fight this up. He has a lot of drones, but drones are awful against Cyclones. Links in small numbers aren't very useful either. Here comes the drone pool. Queens have died already. And I think with some nice micro back, ByuNS is just going to survive and win the game here with those Cyclones. Constantly A-move, stutter stepping against the links. Now doesn't really want to lock on. GG gets called. And ByuNS wins game number 1 in 4 minutes and 55 seconds with a build that I've never seen before, but I'm sure we're going to see a whole lot more of, especially on the ladder. ByuNS, map 1 goes to his favor. Now, this is definitely a single-use build order in a best of 3. I think you can play it again in the future in a different best of 3, but I think DRG is going to be razor sharp when it comes to that. You know, he's going to have Lings running around. If he sees no Reapers out, he will scout for a potential proxy factory. And I think Zergs will need to be doing that in the future in general as well. Just need to kind of figure all of that stuff out. I love this though. I really... Ooh, this time's going to be double Reaper instead. Okay, switch up. So ByuNS says, hey, I got my W with that weird cheesy Cyclone rush, the proxy factory with a reactor. Now I'm back to normal. Now I'm back to what I usually play. But DRG, of course, is going to be a little bit afraid. Scouting around for potential proxy barracks, which he always does. DRG, one of those players that, unlike, for example, Dark, doesn't send his first Overlord straight across the map. It's like, no, I don't feel super comfortable against proxy racks. And as a result, I want to send these Overlords around scouting for them. So it's going to get this info a little bit later. Might be living in, you know, in darkness a little bit longer. Just a little longer. Ooh. Third barracks as well going down here. ByuNS is in a rushing mindset. The 2 Rex is very standard, but the third barracks, that adds some spice, some flavor here into the mix. This Reaper about to pop. We'll see the next one start as well. There's always a little bit of a delay when you build that third Reaper. That is just the way that this build order works. It's not that ByuNS messed it up. So ByuNS really the one in charge here in this series so far. Saying, hey, you're going to need to respond to me. And in a way that makes ByuNS' preparation much easier, right? Because he actually gets to execute his preparation. The person that throws a wrench into the other person's plans first is the one in charge. And that's going to be ByuNS. ByuNS will know exactly what's kicking off over here. Moves in with the Reaper. Doesn't get any kills though. No kills with that first Reaper. We have an inject on the low ground. Most of the time, rather than an inject, we see a creep tumor. So it does feel like DRG is aware that something is weird, that something is wrong. Hasn't quite confirmed the lack of a CC though. And I think this hatch is dead. I know this hatch is dead. This hatch is not going to survive. Link's now being sent across the map. Maybe trying to pick off a Reaper here. Oh, I love this move so much. Take a look at the first person here out of ByuNS. Hop, 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 hop. Loses the Reaper. By the time he realized what was going on, it was gone already. The Reaper had disappeared into darkness. This hatch will get blasted. 27 workers to 24. Is this a good start for ByuNS? I'm not even sure if it is. Yes, taking out that hatchery is big, but at the same time, he didn't really clear a lot of workers. He didn't kill a queen. He didn't deny creep spread. DRG is supply blocked, which is sure to be frustrating for DRG, but I don't actually mind DRG's position very much. He has speed out right now. It'll be hard for 7 Reapers. It's not a whole lot to move across the map. Oh my god, there's a Reaper jump spot. I wasn't even aware of that. And it even has these little triangles here, these warning triangles with an exclamation mark in it, saying, hey, be careful. Reapers can jump up. The guy with the gun in the jetpack, he's ready to come in. He'll shoot you down. Factory on the way, as this Overlord will get taken out. This is an aggressive move in. Not sure if I endorse this move. I am not sure if I endorse this move. Okay, here we go. Links get a pretty decent angle here to start things off with. Yep, there we go. Solid control here by DRG. ByuNS tries to salvage the situation. Doesn't quite work out. And as a result right now, it's just down a significant amount. Has killed 10 Lings, 1 drone and Overlord, and lost 8 Reapers. Now don't forget, if you're opening up with a triple Rex Reaper, you need to deal damage. You can lose some Reapers, but you need to deal damage because you're cutting into your eco by a significant amount. Right now, DRG, double evils already on the way. Yes, +1 is coming in for ByuNS, but ByuNS going to be down in upgrade the moment 1-1 finishes for DRG. It's going to be down in upgrades the moment 2-2 starts and finishes as well. We're looking at probably a 2 upgrade deficit by the time that 2-2 is done here for DRG. Low worker count on ByuNS side as well, who doesn't really have any real method of putting on any pressure on the opponent here either. He can do a fake move out with some Marines, but I think DRG will call that for what it is. He's like, okay, that's not a move out. I don't think DRG is going to fall for that. Yeah, more drones in production. These calls, they don't seem difficult to make with full vision, but sometimes as a Zerg, because you have such limited information, it can be a little bit tricky, but DRG knows. DRG knows best. He goes up to 57 workers, which is a very reasonable amount of workers. This is going to have his eco at a comfortable position against any type of 2-base all-in, which is what we're currently seeing is really just a 2-base all-in. It is nothing but a 2-base all-in. There's no third CC yet. Tanks are now on the way. Depots coming in, as well as a fourth gas. If DRG doesn't build another drone for the rest of the game, that probably would be fine. Unless ByuNS throws down a third CC at some point in the near future, but I have some serious doubts about that. These Marines are being backed into a corner already. There's no +1, there's no combat shield. These three bad boys should die. They will die. Sloppy play there by the Korean Terran player. Looking for a fourth base. This is one of the things that, of course, ByuNS can perhaps deal with. +1 is about to finish up as well. It's going to make that fight a little bit better. If +1 had finished up 3 seconds earlier, I think he takes out a couple of extra links there, which would have been huge. Combat shield still not done. It's very frustrating here for our Terran player. 12 more links in production. It's going to bring the total up to, what is that, 60? 63 or so. It's just a lot of links. Centrifugal hooks now on the way as well. ByuNS combat shield has finished up. These queens are in a gnarly spot. Off creep. Always dangerous with queens to be off creep. As 2 tanks now moving out. Does not get spotted by this ling. But just having this ling there pretty much confirms DRG's suspicion that this is a 2-base all-in. Here comes an attack, or at least an attempted counter-attack by these links. 1-1 has finished up, 2-2 stars instantly. 5th base goes down. I like this play, because it allows DRG to give up this base. If he feels like he can't have a solid fight over here at this fort, he says, hey, I have an alternative fort. As long as he has 3 bases mining, he's winning the game. So really, these extra bases are just purely for larva. So DRG has been doing a very good job injecting those extra bases, by the way. Look how low his cash is. That is beautiful stuff. Loses this base. Doesn't feel the need to rush in. Wants to wait for centrifugal hooks. Doesn't lose any mining either. Still saturated on 3 bases, as mentioned. 2-2 getting closer and closer to finishing up. And the 2-2 here is really quite the showstopper. The moment DRG has 2-2, he's going to have a significant upgrade lead. Going to make matters very difficult here for ByuNS. This is a weird fight, as the queens weren't there really to tank anything. This was a very poor fight by DRG. He's going to clear up the tanks, but execution-wise, this was a bad fight. I don't agree with how he tried executing that. That tank going down over here is very painful. This tank really needs to stay alive, because if it doesn't... Okay, there we go. Gonna get the pickup. If it doesn't, there's no splash whatsoever anymore. Time is running out, though, for ByuNS. As there's 40 more seconds on the clock until +2 Carapace finishes up. That is a huge upgrade. Hydra then now on the way. DRG feeling calm and strong enough to throw in 4 more drones. 7 more drones. That is a very bad sign if you're cheering for the Terran right now. If the Zerg player feels comfortable enough to start adding in drones while on 4 bases, while being 2-base all-in, that usually ain't good. This is a perfect timing as well, coming out of DRG here. Just as the move out happens, he's gonna burst down this depot, get into the natural. That's going to force ByuNS' hand. He's going to force ByuNS to move quicker than he really wants to move. Trying to take out a bunch of these creep tumors. SCVs coming in as well off the line, just like in game number 1. But this time there's not 8 Cyclones and only 3 Queens. No, this time there's a crap ton of Banes. There's 12 Queens around. Superior upgrades for the Zerg, who's about to finish his +2 melee attack as well. And the natural has just been busted. At this point, I feel like DRG can give up both his 3rd and his 4th base and still be in a superior position here. Liberators do look scary, but 12 Queens also look quite scary. The link count is high. I think the next fight is going to be quite an important one here. There's 2 tanks sieged up. Liberators now unsieged. That was perhaps a moment where DRG could have moved in, and he's going to move in. The Marine count is too low. Baneling's not being taken out, as the Lips not quite holding either. They're trying, but they can't. They're trying, but they can't. think 7-8 queens have gone down. It's not going to be enough, as that Ling Bane count is just simply way too high. There's nothing here to really to mine whatsoever. Look at that, 2100 minerals a minute against 600. Every second that goes by is a bad second for ByuNS, and lots of seconds will go by before the next push actually manages to hit the other side of the map. 93 Link still on the map, still with superior upgrades. 9 Hydras now being popped out as ByuNS continues with this never-ending aggression, now trying to drop in towards the main base. This medevac a little low, will not get taken out. Creep spread towards the middle is fine. Near the third base, fairly mediocre. And we'll see where ByuNS is going to take this fight. Seems like he wants to go through the middle. Yeah, that's the one spot where there actually is some creep, but even off creep, like it, I just don't think it matters at this point. There's so many units here for GRG with better upgrades. It's 96 army supply to 61. Lip tries to siege up forward. Isn't quite gonna get what he wants. Ling run by coming in as well. GG gets called as GRG ties up the series and takes it to the ace match. And in that game 3, we're being taken to Oceanborn, the map with the sea monster that is just always there with his looming shadow. Watching over the natural of the bottom side player, of course. There's only one sea monster, and it's annoying the bottom right player. There's nothing here, no sea monster at the top left. It would be a bit unrealistic as well. Such a small little map. How could there be 2 sea monsters? That makes no sense. It's very annoying. It always bothers me when I see it. It's going to be removed, I'm pretty sure, as well in a future hotfix. But for now, let's focus on the actual game, as we have a double Barracks Reaper opener coming out of ByuNS. Much more standard. Closer to what we're used to seeing here. Much closer to what we're used to seeing. We're going to have to wait and see how many Reapers he's going to be building. For now, it seems like he settled on the number of 3. Oh, 2. Actually canceled a Reaper here. Starts a reactor instantly. That is interesting. Perhaps wanting to do something a little bit more aggressive with more Marines as a follow-up. We'll take out a Ling. Yeah, that's 1. Still about 5 seconds left on that Queen timing. A bit more, actually. 2:36 usually is the timing the Queen pops out. Should be the case here as well. Yep, there we go. And it pops out on the bottom side, of course. So that actually gives these Reapers a little bit more time to continue their... well, what should I say? Their mission to try and kill some more Lings. Once again, no creep tumor here being utilized. I feel like he's dealt more damage with these 2 Reapers than he dealt with the 8 Reapers in the last game. It's not a good look for the last game, but it's a good look for these 2 Reapers, that's for sure. A lot more efficient when it comes to that. Of course, they're not going to get a cancel on a third base or anything like that, but not sure how impactful that really was in the last game. Oh, Queens start cannibalizing each other a little bit there. Is this creep trooper going to get taken out? Nice move. ByuNS feeling very confident with these Reaper moves. Is now moving back home as Metabolic Boost is nearing completion. Third Barracks is out as well. There's no Fort Racks. This is something we've seen in the past. It's like a Fort Racks being added, high Marine count. That won't be the case. That won't be the case at all. This third hatchery finishes up. More Queens on the way. Of course, the Queen kind of the catch-all defensive unit for the Zerg. We'll always see a bunch being built. A question that I have now is how hard is ByuNS going to commit into this? There will need to be a stim combat shield timing. If you're investing 2 tech labs into, like, onto barracks, and you're rushing out the stim and combat shield, it makes no sense to wait for your medevacts, right? That would be a ridiculous move. So that's not what I'm expecting here. What I'm expecting here out of ByuNS is a push with stim, combat shield hitting at around, I'd say, the 5-minute mark. Stim is about to finish up already. I mean, he's 30 seconds away right now from combat shield finishing up too. So perhaps this is the timing you want to start moving out. 18 Marines. Okay, here we go. DRG at least sees the lowering of the depot. It's probably, yeah, look at that. He's kind of fishing. He's a fishing expedition here with this Overlord. Is that going to be a scan on top of here or what? No, okay, it's just walking straight past that Ovi. Tech lab and reactors are on the inside. Lucky spawn position for ByuNS. If you would have spawned top left, reactor tech lab would be on the outside, making it much more vulnerable against this type of small Ling run by. Factory on the way, once again with a follow-up. That seems to be setting himself up for a bit of a 2-base timing here. As he snipes 1, 2 queens, goes for a roach as well. Third queen goes down, another roach falls, another queen falls. Lots of queens going down as this marine push is pretty much fizzling out at this point. I'm gonna open up the resources lost tab. 1325 to 1050. Worker counts fairly similar right now. But we shouldn't forget what this type of field push gives to DRG. Like, what does DRG see here right now? He can see two things. One, he can see an opportunity to attack. That is not what he is committing to. He's built these units already, and now he's pretending to attack. He's forcing out a bunker here out of his opponent. We see a massive SCV pool as well. Almost feel like that if DRG actually would have committed to an attack here with more links, more roaches being built behind all of this, perhaps could have done something. But instead, DRG is just completely focusing on pure drone production. Getting to Evo chambers. And the question now is going to be, will that be for melee and carapace, or is it going to be for range and carapace? The worst case scenario here for ByuNS would be a range upgrade, because that means it's going to be roach defense. And if there's one thing I know about the TVZ matchup, is that the moment that Terran decides to go for a heavy 2-base pressure and Zerg defends with roaches, that usually looks real good for the Zerg, because roaches are a powerful defensive unit that is most useful in kind of those early stages of the mid game. When supplies are relatively low, the roach is a beautiful unit that tends to be somewhat efficient even. Now, the longer the game lasts, and if ByuNS actually manages to kind of transition into more of a late game scenario, I think you'll see the weakness of the roach as well, where it doesn't trade well against tanks, it doesn't trade well against higher numbers of marauders either. So I love that we're seeing some marauders already kind of just trickled into this composition. The bunker up here will be defending this front. Here comes a run by, or at least an attempted a little pick off from the reinforcements. Will not succeed, as a tank sieges up over here on the high ground. Barracks 4 and 5 on the way as well. As a massive scan will take out 2 of these creep tumors. Infantry weapons level 1 about to finish up. Marauders and Marines make their way back home. So we see this drop continuing to deal some damage, taking out 1 more tumor. 10 more roaches on the way. I think the moment you see such a roach count as ByuNS, you're almost forced into staying at home. We have a second eBay as well as an armory coming down. This is going to transition into a late game, or into a mid game at least, in which ByuNS wants to play defensively. DRG does not share the same feeling of looking fondly towards a late game, as he throws down a Nidus network. We have an Overseer that is already moving into position to get a Nidus into, well, a spot that isn't really being scouted right now. Tank is moving down. No! Tank is moving away from the main base. This is another issue that ByuNS could really be walking into. He's not going to have a single tank in here. Depot being built in the main. Nothing on the edge. 175 supply against 130. This Nidus is serious business. DRG is putting a lot of eggs into this basket though, and it is looking like a powerful basket. Oh my god, he's just barely missing this. Tank has been sieged up here in the main base. There's not enough medevacs to instantly go there. And this tank will just get taken out. We'll get 3 shots off perhaps. That's going to be it. At the same time, we have this marine drop that is still going ham. It's important that this doesn't get cleaned up, because this is the only pressure that ByuNS has, and he wants to ping pong this in between the fort and the main, but he's not paying attention to it. That means now that all roaches can be used aggressively, and that is a serious issue. There's a lot of Ravagers with this push as well. There's a single tank in the far back. That is going to be it. There's nothing really in the natural either. I think ByuNS might just have died. Tank going down right now against the piles as roaches juking forward. GG gets called, and DRG takes out ByuNS in this best of 3, qualifies himself for the round of 8. Despite some serious nerfs to Zerg, especially to the Baneling, still seems like DRG is good enough to take out a player of ByuNS caliber. That is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.